I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBM, we're stepping back in time to one of the most turbulent eras in American history. The name of the book, A New Tomorrow. It is written by a terrific author. Her name is Doris Gast, and she weaves a riveting tale of family, loyalty, and survival during the Civil War. Through the struggles of the Ellis family, torn apart by conflict yet bound by love, this gripping novel captures the human cost of war and the strength to hold on to hope when everything else is at risk. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Doris, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a
I look
pleasure.
forward
You
to
did
it.
such great work on this book. Are you a Civil War buff? Tell us a little bit why you decided to set a novel during the Civil War era.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I always thought I was born out of time. I've read a lot of books about the Civil War. I've read a lot of historical novels about the Civil War, and I've just always felt that that was my time. I just love the Civil War.
Very, very cool. It is a very fascinating era, obviously a turbulent era, as I mentioned before, and a time when America was divided. In this case, a family is literally divided by war. Tell us a little bit about the Ellis family.
Well, the Ellis family is kind of a rich family in Kentucky, but they have a lot of children. And two of the brothers, William and Thurman, have decided to take different sides in the Civil War. The matriarch or the patriarch of the family, whose his name is Cooper Ellis.
Ellis. Yep.
Cooper is against the war totally. He doesn't feel like it's his war. He doesn't feel like his family belongs in the war, and so he's just like it doesn't exist. But it does. It keeps popping up on his farm, with his sons. Um, in the book, both sides happen to come in because it's in Kentucky, and Kentucky was a neutral state. Um, the war just keeps popping up. Uh, the Confederates show up on his property, the Yankees show up on his property, and he just keeps telling them, "This is not my war. I don't want anything to do with it." But his sons each took different sides. So he has to deal with some of it, but he refuses to deal with most of it.
And it was a conflict that happened in many families that one son would be fighting for one side and the other son would be fighting for the other side. So the conflict is real, the pain is real, the heartache is real, the conflict is real. It's feels very real because you've researched this story in many ways your whole life, I guess, right?
In some ways, yes.
Yeah.
I did do a lot of research for the book. For instance, in the book, it talks about Camp Douglas. I live only about 50 miles from Chicago and never knew until I started researching that there was a prisoner of war camp in Chicago, Illinois.
Mhm.
It's called
Wow.
Camp Douglas. And in 1763, there was a big escape from it. And there
Mm.
was 100 and I think it's 102 or 103 inmates escaped, or not inmates, but Confederate soldiers escaped. And it was a big deal. They only got about half of them back. So I used that as part of my book.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of there were the battles that it talks about in the towards the beginning of the book. That battle actually took place. It's a real battle with the real people that I mentioned the generals that were in the battle, and they're real people. They just made the story better to know that they were, it was a real thing, I think.
That's the beauty of historical fiction is that it's real elements tied with novelized elements to tell a story, and it becomes a really entrenching narrative because, like you said, lots of it is real. Part of it that's very scary is the stalker element that you injected into the story. Tell us why you decided to weave this mystery into this historical story.
um as well as liking the Civil War, I do like mysteries. So it just kind of worked its way in there because of Dorcas. Dorcas is the bad guy, or the villainess in the book.
Yeah.
And she did not like the fact that Bonner did not love her, and she wanted him to love her. So she did everything she could to get Caitlin away from him. So it
Yeah.
was just, it had to be there, I think. It was just a major part of the book. So
Exactly.
yeah, it was and it worked out really well. I mean, the way I wove it through, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was fascinating. I thought that was a unique twist in the book that wasn't necessarily expected, but made it very unique and very, very compelling as well. The book touches on faith and perseverance, and how central are these themes to the book and to your writing in general?
Faith is a big part of my life. My family has always been very faith oriented, and I my belief in God is supreme. So God had to be there, he had to lead the way. And in, not Bonner's, Cooper's life, he did. I mean, he didn't believe the war was his business. He didn't believe that killing people. He didn't believe in, you know, all the crazy stuff that was going on. So he just wanted to be left out. You know, it's not my war. I don't want any part of it. So, but without God, who knows what would have happened? You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
It
I
was a
do.
very trying time for families and the nation as a whole. That's for sure. Have you envisioned this book as a film?
Actually, I would love to see it as a film.
Yeah.
I was actually contacted by a company that wanted to do manuscripts and stuff for it. And I haven't decided if I should go with that, but I
Yeah.
would love to see it made into a movie. I think it would be a good movie.
Yeah.
And
I think it'd be a
I
wonderful
have,
movie. You got compelling storylines, compelling characters, and beautiful settings and real life conflict, right?
right. Well,
Yeah.
I've had a couple of friends that have read the book, and they were just shocked that I was able to make it do what it did. One person said to me, "I am so glad you didn't kill off Thurman and William," but they're part of my heart. So,
Exactly. Yeah, it's
I
tough
couldn't do
killing
that.
off a character when you love the character and you love the book and you love the story. Talk to us about the title, A New Tomorrow. What does that symbolize to you in the context of the story?
Well, at the beginning of the book, it talks about the Daniel Boone, and it talks about the grandfather of Cooper's father, and it talks about how they came across the Appalachian Mountains, through the Cumberland Gap into Kentucky and settled. And when Cooper's mother got there, and she ran into the cabin, the first thing the thing she said when she saw Cooper, or not Cooper, but Cooper's father, Jamie, is she said, "This is a good place to start a new tomorrow." So it just made the book, made the title. And
Exactly.
each day when you go through the book, each day is new, and you wait for that ending so that you see that everything works out okay. So that's your new tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good to have a powerful line like that. I remember a film that had towards the end of it, God is my witness, I will never go hungry again. And
Gone with the Wind.
I figured that's one of your favorites, no
It
doubt.
is absolutely my favorite. It's my favorite movie of all times.
Well, it's one of
Um,
the greatest movies ever made,
it
and
is.
it's so epic in its scope. And it feels like you really lived it when when you watch this movie rather. You feel like you've lived that experience. You've gone through Scarlett O'Hara's trials and tribulations and the Tarleton twins and Rhett Butler, but your book has a similar epic family feel about it that you feel like you've really experienced something when you read it. So let me ask you this. Are you thinking about continuing the Ellis family saga in a sequel or perhaps another book?
Actually, I have started a third book. I've actually wrote a previous book to A New Tomorrow, but I did it under a pen name. But
Okay.
I'm thinking about having it reprinted under my real name. But it was a like contemporary book. But after I did A New Tomorrow, I am now working on a third book, and it picks up in the early 1900s with the World War One. World War One. So I'm going from there, and I don't know if there will be a fourth book about the Ellis family, but they're all connected. You know, the names, the family itself, the farm, Sugar Camp is the name of the farm. It's all connected.
And
And I
you
have
could
to say
actually
this.
make this a series. I mean, you could pick it up at any conflict. You could pick it up at the Vietnam War too. You know what I mean? And a
Yes,
family torn apart by a peace protester. One son's a hippie, the other one is a conservative with a buzz cut and wants to go fight and die for his country, you know? So it's the possibilities are endless, which is what's wonderful about writing, right?
yes, it is. It is. I actually have a son that's wants to go join the well, actually he wants to join the um Royal the the Air Force in England. You know how
England,
they,
okay.
because they had those fighters that went over there and they did a lot of bombing and stuff from
And how do you
England.
feel about that?
Royal Air Force. How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Um, I think I would like to do that. I
Yeah, it's
actually have a,
exciting, that's for sure. It's quite an adventure. Obviously, there's risk involved as well. And you're his mom, so it's hard to say go, 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 but you don't want to
yes,
stand in his way either. So I don't have that conflict in my life, but I can imagine how parts of you are torn about it as well, right?
well, I have a son who was a Marine, and
Wow.
he was um he was involved when they had the flooding over in Afghanistan and stuff.
Mhm.
And he used to be a crew chief on a aircraft, that carried the water and stuff and dumped the water on the fire and
Wow.
stuff. So um, that stuff's pretty. And I've been in the military. I was in the Army.
Wow. Okay.
I served 4 years in the U.S. Army, so I'm familiar with military.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all
Yeah.
part of my life.
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you for your service. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
son's service. And thank you for this wonderful book. It's such a great contribution to our literary world. The name of the book is A New Tomorrow. It is a moving story of love, loss, and survival during one of America's darkest chapters. And a reminder that even in war, the human spirit endures. Doris, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work on this great book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.